Check it out. These are the men who were at the signing of the Constitutional Convention. You can visit them and stand amongst them. They're life-size bronze statues. Check them out. You can see people standing there right now. So I want to show you some of these guys, all right? Anybody know one name of somebody who was at the Constitutional Convention?
I know.
Thomas Jefferson was not here.
Okay. Benjamin Franklin.
Benjamin Franklin. Let's take a look at Benjamin Franklin. How you guys doing? It's very rare. There he is. There's Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin was the oldest delegate of the Constitutional Convention. Okay, so there he is seated. Ben Franklin had really bad gout, so he was seated the entire time. Another interesting thing about Ben Franklin, as the oldest member with a severe gout, he had come back from France, and he lived about 6 blocks from Independence Hall here in Philadelphia. And he grew up back within France, a sedan chair, which is basically a very cushy, comfortable chair that had poles on either end, and he was carried back and forth to the convention seated in his chair because it hurt his feet to walk. And they had prisoners from the local prison carrying him back and forth every day through the streets of Philadelphia. Now, Mr. Langhorst told me that that's the way he'd like to arrive at school every day, having kids carry him, but I don't think he's worked it out yet. All right, so who else was there? We had Ben Franklin.
John Jay.
Alexander Hamilton. Let's take a look at Hamilton. There he is. What do you notice about the Alexander Hamilton statue here in the room?
He's alone.
He's all alone. Exactly. You guys are great. Alexander Hamilton's all alone because Alexander Hamilton came, like the other delegates, he was chosen by his state legislature to come to Philadelphia to represent the state of New York. He actually came, they sent 3 delegates total, but at the end, remember this room is September 17, 1787, at the end of the convention, the other 2 had left, they'd gone home, they didn't think it was worthwhile to stick around. And Hamilton was left by himself. So here he is, all alone. Let me tell you about a couple other quick fun facts about the room itself. The thing about the Constitutional Convention I told you earlier was that it was done in secret, right? So there's no real record. There are some notes that were people take, some folks took. James Madison. There's James Madison. There were some notes people took about the convention, but we don't really have a definitive record, so we don't really know where they stood. So our artists who worked on this kind of guessed where they were standing. Now I have some other students here. Maybe we'll say hello to some other students who just came to our museum. Let's see if we want to. You guys want to say hello to some other kids?
Yeah. Sure. Why not? Check
How you guys doing? Where are you from? Here in Philadelphia. Do me a favor. These are some kids who are in class right now in Missouri. You guys want to say hello?
Hey.
Let me make it so you guys can hear.
You guys are cool.
Where are you guys from?
We're from McDaniel Elementary in South Philadelphia.
There you go. All right, guys, there they are in Philadelphia. And what's the name of your school?
South Valley Junior High.
And where is it?
Liberty, Missouri.
Liberty, Missouri. All right, so they're going to take a look around. They're going to take a look around the museum as well, and we're going to go back and finish up once we can sign this copy again. You're on a field trip. You're on a field trip. All right, so a couple other quick things about the room here. Let me show you a couple other quick highlights. So we didn't really know where everyone was standing, so the artists had to guess a little bit. So they grouped them all by states. Okay, so they're all kind of standing by their states. This is the Pennsylvania team over here, right? And we have different states, and we know Hamilton's alone. We know what every single one of these guys looked like. We had historians work for 3 years doing research on how big these guys were, and how short they were, and how fat, and how tall, and what they looked like. Everyone except this gentleman right here, Jacob Broom. And you see his hand is over his face. The artists want to do it because we don't really know what he looks like. He's the only one of these guys who we did not have a picture of, so they kind of had to guess, and they put his hand in front of his face. Okay? Now, at the convention, there were 55 delegates total that came. And we know that at the end, only 42 were left. Of those 42 that were left, 39 signed. And 3 guys did not sign. They dissented from the Constitution. They're right here in the back of the room, the dissenters. Edmund Randolph, George Mason and Elbridge Gerry, 2 guys from Massachusetts and 1 guy from Virginia. And they didn't sign the Constitution because they wanted a Bill of Rights. And they would eventually get a Bill of Rights just 2 years later, but they wanted a Bill of Rights in the original document. And they didn't get it, so they said it wasn't worth signing. Okay? 2 other quick items, and then we'll be all done. I can get some questions. This guy is interesting. This is Gouverneur Morris. Say, look, anybody have any friends named Gouverneur? No, probably not. Now, what's so interesting about Gouverneur Morris was that he not only wrote the Constitution, he's the actual guy who sat down and wrote "We the People," came up with those words, but he also has something very interesting. What do you see?
Hey.
He's got a peg. He's got a peg leg.
What did he do?
What did he do? Good question. Gouverneur Morris was when he was about your age, about middle school, about 12, 13 years old. He was in a carriage accident. His leg was crushed. And his family doctor was out of town at the time, and the doctor came in, and what do? They just cut it off with a saw. So here he is with his peg leg. The other interesting thing about Gouverneur Morris, which you wouldn't really, most people don't know, is that he's right across from this guy. Who's that guy?
George Washington.
Anyone know?
G-Dub.
George
Washington.
George Washington, nice job. George Washington is standing in the front of the room, and what you do if you visit Philadelphia, as you see these students are doing right here from South Philadelphia, you can sign the Constitution too. You can actually sign our book. We have books we have hundreds and hundreds of books of all the visitors who've come and have signed our Constitution. It's signed the Constitution of the United States. But here's the interesting thing about George Washington and the old peg-leg Gouverneur Morris. People like to think that George Washington was the tallest guy in the room, but he wasn't. George Washington was about 6'3", right? And Gouverneur Morris was 6'4". But what did the artist do? The artist had Gouverneur Morris bend over a chair as if he's talking to Dr. Franklin so that everyone can believe that George Washington was the tallest. Because we like to think that George Washington was our tallest founding father when he really wasn't. All right, that's my whole story. What's going on with you guys?
Hey, Eli, can you tell the story about the